Welcome back to the North American LCS Summer Split, everybody. Now, each week, the LCS teams are under tremendous pressure to win. There's a threat of relegation for the teams that slip up and don't do very well, the promise of worlds for the teams that excel.
Yeah, but every player has been feeling a new pressure to score fantasy points for their team's fantasy league.
I definitely like the fantasy league. Yeah, I'm in like 3 different fantasy leagues right now.
After our first game against C9, I had a lot of tweets being like, "Oh man, you only had 2 kills. I need more fantasy points." I was like, "Damn."
People talking to me on Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that. They're like, "Hey, you're on my team. Like, you better do well." I'm like, "Oh God."
I think it puts too much pressure. You know, I don't wanna disappoint everyone who's chosen me.
All I do is apologize to people who put me on their team.
Even the top teams, when they die, the fans are getting angry at them. It doesn't matter if they win, the fans get angry at them.
The EG game last week that we had, like Kreppel had more points than me, but we won. So I'm like, okay, what?
It's really cool to see that even the players in the LCS are getting into it.
Turtle made fun of my team, so I'm making him eat his words.
My highlight player is Shifter. He went off last week, he had a pentakill, so I'm really happy with that pick.
Sadly, I'll probably be picking Shifter over myself.
I have Kerp on my team who made 117 points on the first week, which is amazing. Like, I believed in the trackball, man.
然后你要问我哪5个的话，当然是选我们5个。
I literally just locked in me, Afro, and Link. Oh yeah, I actually first picked myself. I was the first one to go in the rotation, and I was just like, I want me.
That was pretty much saw it coming, and he picked himself. I'm like, okay, dude.
Last but not least, I have Wild Turtle as my AD, but right now he's sucking. He has me as his top laner, so I need to try and feed more to ruin his fantasy points.
We'll see if Darius can do it. If you haven't already set up your league, point your browser over to fantasy.lolesports.com.
Yeah, there you can create your ultimate dream team made up of your favorite pro players from the North American and European LCS. Then, compete against your friends, racking up points based on the actual LCS games.
Fantasy League is your opportunity to play owner, so start building your franchise today. Get a bunch of points, win a bunch of games. I'm 1-1 with my league so far.
Well, congratulations. So am I.
I'm playing you this week in one of our leagues, I think.
Really?
Maybe I'm just dumb.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think in a future week.
Whatever. I'm taking on Quickshot. I know that much. Anyway, while you're weighing in your first pick, we're going to throw it over to Riv and Kobe to take us into our first game of the day.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's jump right into it. Counter Logic Gaming versus Team Solo Mid. Kobe, TSM with this, coming into this game, are only 1 game ahead of CLG, and that's kind of the story of all our games today. People can match each other if they win, lose here.
Yeah, this is a classic rivalry here in competitive League of Legends. But TSM have actually lost a lot of their senior lineup since the start of the year, making this a much younger team that is lacking a little bit in leadership. A lot of the responsibility has fallen to their new support, Glebe, for his pre-game strategies and his in-game communication as well. If you add to that, that's been his job of late to keep Wild Turtle alive, then he's wearing many hats for his team.
This is true. While Glebe is stepping up to be a linchpin player for his squad, Seraph is still trying to adjust to CLG's top lane.
All right, so this has been a situation that CLG have found themselves in before.
Yeah.
Where there are hopes among CLG fans that Seraph is going to come in and be this godlike player simply because he's Korean and he was associated with the Najin organization. But instead, they've got yet another top laner that they need to mold, just like they tried to do with Voyboy, and they were in the process of doing with Nien. So this is not really a new story for CLG to come into a split expecting a rough start because of a new player. But this time around, it may be even more difficult because the game's actually changed a lot, with the top lane going from one of the most simple and isolated roles in League of Legends to one of the most complicated.
Absolutely. Right now, let's get into the starting lineup so we can get into this rivalry game. On the blue side, it's Counter Logic Gaming. In the top lane is Seraph, Dexter in the jungle, Link in mid lane, Doublelift at AD carry, and Afromu on support.
And on the red side, it's TSM. Up top is Dyrus. And the jungle, amazing. Mid, Bjergsen, AD carry, Wild Turtle. And supporting, Glebe.
And then in our featured matchup this week, we will be venturing into the jungle for Dexter versus Amazing. Both of these players have had success on Elise, so we could probably expect to see the Spider Queen being a contested pick or ban early here.
Yeah, in TSM's first game, actually, Cloud9 effectively banned Amazing out and forced him onto that Xin Xiao, and it didn't work that well for TSM's new jungler. But overall, we have seen Amazing put up some good numbers. The key difference with Dexter is that Amazing is much more reactive during the early game. He just goes to whatever lane is calling him there. He's running much more on instinct, whereas Dexter tends to work off a plan. You know, sometimes that plan doesn't work out, but he does come into the game with specific goals.
A big goal, something in the end. And usually CLG's goal is to take out everything they can before they win a game. For some reason, once they get to your base, they just want everything from there on out. It's a little bit of demoralization, I think, too. But it all comes from the rotations, I guess, right? Being able to hit it right. Also looking at, too, of what are the strongest teams, this rivalry is they're ones who've seen some of the most changes, which is different because, like you said, CLG's been here, and TSM, a team that is constantly placed in the top, are, you know, switching players out.
Yeah, I mean, Dyrus is the last old school guy left on TSM. There are actually only 10 players left in the whole North American LCS that have been in the North American LCS since it started.
The spring, and that split, yeah. Wow. They're weeding them out, man.
Yeah, everybody's
Getting
dropping
old.
quick.
Get them on the desk. Get that knowledge and empower the rest of the players. Let's get into the game. Figured the AD carries would get a little bit of love in this game. That Twitch does go out to the wayside immediately. Wild Turtle won't be picking that up.
Yeah, even though last week Wild Turtle on Twitch was walking by a few too many pink wards and get himself hooked, they still respect the pick. That champion right now just has so much carry potential for the late game. And with CLG liking to move around so much between objectives, Twitch is the perfect champion to pick people off in between those movements.
See how the bans go. There's been quite a diversity played between the AD carries. We got some Sivir, Vayne.
Well, with the Yasuo ban early from CLG, that opens up some questions in my mind. Do they want to run a Nidalee? Are they looking to run a TF? Something like that where they don't want to have to go up against a mid lane assassin like Yasuo? Very interesting early ban there against Bjergsen.
Morgana being taken out, so it looks like Glebe gets hit pretty hard in this one. We haven't really seen Glebe get off any other supports. Zyra's still in there for him, and we still have one last ban to go for TSM. We'll see what this will be. It will be a Jax. That means Shyvana and Renekton are left up for this top lane, but the first pick is double lifts for Lucian.
Highest priority does go to the second AD carry that is up there in the Twitch tier list for CLG. So pretty easy early pick for them. However, it does kind of leave Seraph out to dry. He has had probably the best showings on Shyvana. And when he's had to be forced onto Aurelia, it hasn't been quite as strong for CLG. So we'll see now if he has expanded his champion pool enough to incorporate this. TSM actually letting top lane picks go past the first round as well, though, in favor of getting not only LeBlanc, but also Lulu here. So that's really a flexible pick because it could be in the top lane or it could be support, and it opens them up for more carries on this team than just LeBlanc.
This is actually something that CLG likes to do as well. Aframu played the Lulu the other week. They'll take out that mid laner, kind of take it away. So with those grabs, TSM definitely hits a core amount of champions and the bans that CLG likes to use.
I really do like taking Lulu pretty early, just because she can go into so many positions. And as you said, Aframu really liked Lulu as a support as well. So not only are you taking it away from Link, but also possible CLG support being taken away there.
His last game of the week versus Cloud9, Link did bring out the Orianna. Looks like he'll try to do that once again. We've been seeing some Corki and Sivir. Kog'Maw as well from the Yellow Pete man himself. This would be very interesting with Amazing going on his wheelhouse champion, at least in.
Yeah, Kog'Maw has definitely been on the rise recently. It's not just Twitch and Lucian at the top anymore. What's really interesting about the Kog'Maw nowadays are there's so many different builds people are using. I mean, some people are still even rushing Infinity Edge into Phantom Dancer, but even more popular now are the early Blade of the Ruined Kings or early Trinity Force. So there's so many options to go with that Kog'Maw now. And since they've set up a pretty good Protect Kog'Maw situation here already with Lulu and Lee Sin able to kick people back, I do like the pickup here. They still have potential for snatching people off in the mid game with LeBlanc. They don't need that Twitch.
Oh. Very interesting.
The joke's on us. It is going to be a top lane Lulu, probably.
Yeah, Leona.
Dyrus has not played very much LeBlanc, and it takes Dyrus a long time to learn champions. So I'd say, if I was a betting man, Dyrus is going to take over the Lulu, because LeBlanc takes a little while to practice those combos.
I'm going to distort twice right into the fight and then be left out to dry. So Glebe actually leaves himself last to pick AD carry for Wild Turtle. Already seeing that on the board. It's nothing they have to rush anyways for Lucian. Double Lift and Aframu, however, kind of winding out the composition for CLG. Still have Shyvana on the board. It would be an easy pick, but
yeah, could be an easy last pick here, though. It would be going up against Lulu. Not sure how many range champions Seraph has actually practiced against. Shyvana, it's not that bad, though. She would probably be jungling early. And since CLG have two solo laners now, with the Leona being locked in, or TSM have 2 solo laners now that are very poor junglers. CLG will probably be looking for some sort of lane swap here to make that Lulu or the LeBlanc try and farm jungle camps, because they're very inefficient at it.
So we have Sarah's pickup of Renekton. Dyrus knows this matchup very, very well. And we also have the pickup of Aframu on Alistar. We got to remember the ball delivery system coming from Link there. That's something that CLG used heavily at the end of the split.
Yeah, this is a very, very solid composition from CounterLogic Gaming. It's not complicated at all. They have a very simple comp here. Definitely oriented on that team fight, trying to use the Shockwave combo with Aframu. Meanwhile, TSM, they really have to watch out for this early game. Like I said, with picking 2 mana-using champions for their solo lanes, don't know how they will manipulate the early laning phase here. Maybe they will spend more money on vision and try and get some favorable matchups. I mean, top laners in this meta have really been sort of reduced to scavengers for the beginning of the game. They're just kind of...
Who can do it the best?
Hey, here, go ahead and jungle without a jungle item for a while.
Don't teleport wrong, or top lane wrong time.
Yeah.
You'll die.
And they just basically just follow you around. They're like your friend just begging for scraps. Can I get the small wolf, please? Just one small wolf.
Somebody will figure it out. One of these days, somebody's just going to blow our minds and do something completely different. We got to remember back when Gambit started doing it with the Janna Roam and the Shyvana in the jungle, and we were like, wait a minute, supports in the jungle? What is this? Now the top laners have to do it.
One of my favorite things about the new meta, so many roamers now. We get 3 people roaming around in the early game. You can have 4 people mid sometimes at 2-3 minutes.
They ram it up. Before we jump into the game, we want to see how you've been voting over at LOLesports.com, where TSM leads with 65% of the vote. It's not too bad off.
Yeah, and you can also continue to share your predictions by tweeting either hashtag CLGWin or TSMWin to @LOLesports. We will be updating our polls throughout the entire game to check in and see how people's opinions are changing.
So it's interesting when Cloud9 played Team Solo Mid first, they kind of banned out Amazing. They said, here, you can not have any junglers. And then it's kind of an all-around focus coming in from CLG. They feel like hitting every point of the team while getting double at first pick Lucian is their best bet coming in here.
Yeah, Amazing definitely was practicing a few more champions as well after last week. So he's probably up to speed on more than 4 now, as the weakness has been exposed. But as Crumb said, there are plenty more junglers outside these top 4 that everyone keeps talking about and everyone keeps choosing that are very much viable options.
What are we looking at in that kind of situation?
Well, if you're looking at Europe, then you saw Yorick, but that hasn't had too much success. But all the old junglers that people used to use are still viable. I mean, there's still the Xin Zhao, there's still the Pantheon, there's still Vi. They're just not as good early anymore. And people are much more favoring things like Lee Sin and Elise because these 2 guys, these 2 junglers here are going to look to have a very early impact. Dexter and Amazing, with very early game junglers, they should be able to really dictate the pace of this early game.
Is there any fact of the swapping that kind of affects any of these junglers positively? A jungler with more mobility, the fact that things are swapped up, position on the map is stronger in one area. Does Elise favor that?
Yeah, that's why we're seeing these early game junglers, because they have more freedom now that people are not shoving down early turrets. They don't have to show in lane anymore. So if you're a jungler who can win a duel versus the majority of other jungling champions, then it's a good pick right now, because a lot of the time you're only level 3. You're running into people, you're trying to duel. There are a lot more early skirmishes here away from turrets.
Right.
Now that people are moving around so much.
And that's something that's going to play into the factor, as we were talking about, for Dexter. Having that big picture already ready, if you know what you're getting yourself into. Meeting Amazing in the jungle, like you said, Amazing's going to be playing reactively if he hasn't already anticipated that. And we saw Dexter when they were at the Battle of the Atlantic, he was a little shyer A lot of bush time, didn't really come out for ganks. But then when he got here in the LCS, he was pretty much starting all of those ganks. A lot of first bloods for Counter Logic Gaming. So Amazing will definitely have to be on his toes in the jungle.
Yeah, and he has been, focusing a lot on the bottom lane as well. We'll see if he lends any extra support to Seraph. Seraph, though, we talked about the limited champion pool. Renekton's very easy to pick up. I feel confident that he can perform on Renekton. And he is taking teleport. It's not the Ignite Renekton because CLG, like I said, probably not looking for the standard lane matchups here. Probably looking to switch things around and get some free lanes.
Well, free lanes for CLG would definitely be good. We know Doublelift loves to be in that atmosphere, farming his face off. The crowd is ready. A little bit of the running man as well as they get themselves onto the Rift. Looks like we got some relics in the bottom lane. Start off pretty organized and even across the board. Dexter gets himself a Vision Ward in there.
Yeah, so extra vision for CLG, actually, because they're the ones that really want to manipulate this early game. We'll see if it does pay off here. Aframu also starting with that Targons is interesting. A lot of the times he'll spend even more money just on consumables and vision. But this time around, he's going to be beefy in that bottom lane. Alistar and Lucian is nothing to sneeze at. They have a lot of kill potential, and it's a great pick against Leona. Because whenever Leona comes in, he can not only interrupt her combo, but he could also headbutt her into the turret if they engage too closely. Just pulverize, knock her right into danger. So it's just a very strong pick against Leona specifically, and it's one of Aframu's specialties.
I like it as well because, Glebe and Wild Turtle still kind of getting adjusted together. Glebe has quite a bit of responsibilities coming in for Team Solo Mid, so anything you can do to kind of hinder that combination, you're going to get the one up. You can see that vote.
Yeah, and that's a good point because Wild Turtle is on a champion that is not forgiving if you have poor positioning. Kog'Maw very similar to Twitch in that regard. So we'll have to see how he can position on Kog'Maw. It's pretty easy for Kog'Maw, though, especially since no mana for his W active. Taking advantage of that long range should be Wild Turtle's goal.
That was a fantastic change. Always love some Kog'Maw play. Just bring back the green elixir now and you're good. 2 minutes coming up on the clock as both teams look to give each other a little bit of space here in the beginning of the game. Regular starts off, no steals on the buffs. And it looks like we are going to get the matchup in the bottom lane. We'll see if Doublelift and Aframu decide to go hard here.
All right, so we are going to get 2v2s down bottom. This is a really interesting 2v2. I really like the interaction between both these supports as I was talking about. But really, it's going to be what can Seraph do up in this top lane? Dyrus with one of the newer picks for himself, trying out the Lulu. We'll see if he can actually deal with Renekton. Because Renekton does have kill pressure on Lulu, even though she can harass him early. Like I said, Dexter likes to make moves pretty early. Might want to get an early lead for that Crocodile.
Already got some pings going down on the backside, so they have the awareness of where Amazing is. If they want to go aggressive in the bottom lane, that's perfectly fine. Dexter's going to get a smite on his blue and be quite ahead of Amazing here in the run, so they can decide to do something off this if they want to. And that's really Dexter kind of had the big picture already, right? He's moving along, and he's ready to start things for Counter Logic Gaming.
Yeah, look at this. Amazing clearing out a lot of his blue side jungle. Took the white as well.
Yeah.
A lot of Lee Sin skipped that camp, but he's going for a much, much later red here by clearing out his full blue side. He should have seen...
He should have seen the ward flash. He's going to let him get it quite down. Dexter with the smite down. Going in very hard. Red buff. It does go actually over to Dexter, so he's got the damage on it. He could be taken. Wow. Amazing going down very well there, I meant to say, but great damage onto Dexter. Kind of a little too much of a weight there.
Yeah, so it's a really good plan by Dexter. Here's what he's thinking. I've got a Renekton top lane. He's going to shove it early. That's great. My mid lane as well. Orianna can shove LeBlanc very easily. So I've got two solo lanes that can back me up. It's a good call to go for that invade. The problem was really in the execution there. He missed the cocoon. He got revealed by the W. After he placed his ward, there's vision, so he didn't have to be that close. Could have backed off and expected that there would be a Tempest Cripple combo from Amazing, but he was too close. So he got revealed. It forced his hand. He rushed in there, didn't get the smite steal or the early damage onto Amazing. And if you go to at Lee Sin early game like this without landing that cocoon, then you're just going to get destroyed. So they actually end up only trading flashes because CLG have control of the lanes, and it was great collapse. Didn't go too poorly for CLG.
Good plan, bad execution.
Seraph still a bit of a level up on Dyrus. With Dyrus staying in the jungle, he is just leveling up now to meet where Seraph is. So if he can keep that in lane, the level 6 will be great when when Seraph hits it. Trying to formulate something in the jungle. Doesn't work, but you can see already CLG under 5 minutes trying to get something going. Seraph getting a little punished down in the top lane is amazing. Wants to get something started here for TSM's side. Coming in for Bjergsen, misses the ethereal chain. Looks like he'll be safe. A little extra damage.
Whoa, whoa. Crowd really wants him to take that Lee Sin Q, I guess.
It's like a cafeteria fight.
But yeah, he dodged the skill that mattered. The chain is what was crucial there, so good job by Link. Actually going back to purchase his early Chalice now, too. Need that early magic resist versus LeBlanc, because all that she has over Orianna is the kill pressure. Now that he's got his magic resist and mana, he can control the wave much easier and reduce a lot of that Bjergsen threat.
Link quickly getting a sweeper on this back, actually. So we'll see if they try to get Dexter to come back mid. Right now, looks like he's going to do some lane work. Going for Seraph.
Lane gank bottom from Amazing. Just walked right in there with Lee Sin. Now, it's a champion that's very strong at lane ganking. However, the wave was shoved up so close to the turret. The point here is just to shove it into the turret.
Aframu standing pretty aggressive on this one. Like you're saying, he's looking to headbutt somebody into the turret. He will not give you any extra steps there.
And he also uses his Targon Execute to make sure they don't lose any minions under the turret. So even though TSM shoved this up to the turret with Amazing's help, they get nothing out of it. Actually, it's frozen in the perfect spot for CLG. So not able to accomplish anything with that trip down bottom from Amazing. And Dexter might make him pay for it. Because he showed down bottom, he knows there's no chance of a counter gank.
There it is.
And as I said before, Renekton does have the kill pressure on Lulu.
Well, she just hit level 6. Dyrus and Seraph hitting that. Well, just about 2 minions apart. And Dexter's level 4 here.
Dyrus does have his ulti, so at least he does have his ulti to rely on. But Seraph is trying to charge up his Fury Bar right now.
They have a perfect way to tank this. If they can get in, Dexter takes it first, repels out, and then it's going to be... Oh, actually, Seraph's going to have to take this quite hard with the Dominus on. Gets shrunken out. Dyrus could have shield coming up soon. Gets the slow on. Dexter getting an auto attack. He's going to go down. And so is Seraph. The double kill for Dyrus. It's not even over. Amazing. Sneakily getting himself out towards Dragon, but who would have thought?
So we talked about communication. I think that might have been a little bit of miscommunication. So let's watch. Dexter backs off now after the ult and shield have gone down. Seraph goes deep in though. At that point, Dexter has to try and finish this. But with Elise's reduced damage, he's not able to get the kill until he goes down anyway. And since Seraph went back in, not being sure that Dexter would be able to finish the kill, he thought that Seraph actually wasn't going to go down there. So he gets back into turret range and ends up going down as well. A double kill for Dyrus. Extremely good for TSM here. Because Renekton really needs to be able to use that early lead. Once Lulu starts getting more beefy, he loses his kill pressure. It's much harder for him as the game goes on. And Dyrus being able to purchase some extra wards here too should be feeling a lot more confident in this top lane.
It almost looked like Dexter thought he got aggro because he stuttered back. And then, no.
I think he was just saying, okay, we got the ult and shield, it's too dangerous, and he didn't want to go for it. Not sure, though. Might been in those things, those heat of the moment, do we go for the dive, do we stop? Those are the things that really, really count in the early game here that CLG might be missing because of the language barrier. They have said, though, that Seraph's English is strong. So they haven't had problems communicating with him.
Well, we got to think now, those 2 incidences are adding up. Dexter went into the jungle. That was a failed attempt. Pulled Seraph out of lane, and now they got killed in the top lane. So TSM now trying to work a little bit of the snowball they've been given. And CLG looking to stave it off here. They've done quite a good job, but again, Seraph has to be pulled back out of lane. Might lose a few CS to the turret, too.
Yeah, and because Link is collapsing like this, you know, Bjergsen's doing a great job controlling the CS in this mid lane. Got a pretty good early lead here. And since he has blue buff, and the blue buff was effectively denied from Link, Bjergsen's going to have a pretty big upper hand here, especially with that 2-level lead. Link should probably get a level off this wave, though. Yeah, there he goes.
Walking around. It's not going to do anything. He wanted Wraiths, but he's not going to take it. He doesn't know where everything else is. Now waiting in the fog of war for a bit of action towards Link, as we're looking to see what the bottom lane is doing, and it looks like it's Doublelift and Aframu on the roam now.
There are pretty good wards here from TSM, though. They have pink wards on both sides, so they'll see this roam up top. Yellow pinks do go down. The pink ward actually was not found by CLG, so it's still there for TSM. Everybody's walking by that bush. Dyrus really gets control of the top lane because there's a roam down from Seraph. Dyrus doesn't have his teleport, though, so he's going to be late to this party.
Just gritting his teeth. Gets amazing, and Bjerg's not in the situation. Damage there. If CLG can keep getting pokes like that, they're better off.
Because of that delay, though, Dyrus came down. This could be 5-on-5.
He did have that speed. He whimsied himself into position. A nice Void Ooze. That's going to be a full 5 hit on the slow for the Solar Flare. Coming in with the damage. Link very hurt. Aframu on the outside throws down the ultimate, reducing the damage, but is it enough? A 1v1, and Dexter takes out Amazing on the left side of your screen. Bjergsen's going to finalize that kill on the cow. It looks like they back off with 2 for 1.
Yeah. Glebe a little bit overreaching right there, chasing into that Alistar and Orianna combo. Pretty dangerous. It's only a 1 for 2 though, not terrible for TSM, not amazing for CLG. But yeah, that's the Leona Alistar interaction we were looking for. Amazing tried to follow it up pretty well and does kick over Doublelift, but the damage from TSM, not in position to follow it up.
Seraph coming into that fight, if he still had dominance, it seems like he could have gone back in, but he walked into the fight with it on, so they're not really organizing these.
Yeah, he has built early damage too, so with the Tiamat, not a lot of potential for him to tank up for this team. His teleport is available though, and it looks like CLG just going to give this one up because of the ward coverage here from TSM. Possible steal, but very unlikely.
Cannot has. Dragon going over to Team Solo mid. We got an even game in gold and kills right now. 11.5 minutes in. Dyrus and Seraph back toe-to-toe in the top lane. Looks like Bjergsen's going to back. He's got about 600 gold lead right now. That's coming off his kills. The assists with 10 CS in his favor. But Bjergsen and Link have kept each other from roaming, and those are two of the two pivotal members of the team to get things going if the jungle cannot.
A lot of wards up here for Seraph in the top lane. He wants to go aggressive. He's built all this damage. He has Tiamat for shoving. Wants to keep Dyrus sequestered up in the top lane so that he can't join the fights. Lulu's biggest strengths are buffing up the rest of the carries on a team. Being able to get other people to carry harder. She's not one to necessarily carry by herself. So if you can keep her away from the rest of the team, really reduce the effectiveness of that pick. Aframu setting up this lane gank. That should cause TSM to play more cautiously though, because they've just seen this pink ward go down. They got to know there's a reason for that pink ward going down. See if they actually call down Amazing though, because right now he's heading mid. They're just giving up this bottom turret.
It's going to be in. Doublelift gets a nice ward, so he needs the 1v1. He'll be happy to. Well, like you said, with not a lot, but a little bit of damage coming in, the item's not really being finished for CLG. You see 2 Athene's Unholy Grails, the Blade of the Rune King now finished, the Lizard Eldered as well. TSM is ready to get themselves into fights. They're in the position to make the moves they want. And with Dyrus, we said earlier, not going to have the greatest time on Lulu. Those 2 early kills, definitely giving him a thumbs up there.
Yeah, and CLG, not only were they able to take the turret, but they also got enough damage out of it to get the wave pushing back at them. So Doublelift is able to keep that wave in friendly territory for longer now. So he doesn't have to overextend, and he can further increase this lead over Turtle. Doublelift is really going to be massive. Now that the numbers have turned against his creep wave, deciding to hard shove it so that he can then roam. Once he shoves out that wave, he can actually go make an effect either mid lane or with the rest of his team here. It looks like people setting up for the next spawn of buffs.
Gotta be careful. They got some good wards for him, but a quick sidestep of Wild Turtle and Glebe towards the river would take him out. He's 141 to 100 in CS right now. Really having a big effect, Doublelift and Aframu's combination against Wild Turtle and Glebe and a Cog Leona combination.
Turtle is definitely looking more for late game, but he needs to stay competitive in that CS score. because Lucian is not a poor scaling AD. As we said, Doublelift is already on the road to outperforming him in these mid-game team fights. Early play of the Ruined King, though, very popular build for Kog'Maw. Does help him out a lot with champions like Renekton, who are going to try and dive to him. Then he can slow them down and kite them back. This is not a tanky Renekton, so he can actually kill him pretty easily if he's able to get distance.
Great picks play there. Glitterlance after to follow up some damage, and he's just trying to bait in the play for Dexter. A little bit of time wasted up here, but he's sitting on half a red buff left. Doesn't look like he's going to get anything that he wants. Seraph really shouldn't go in right now.
Yeah, I think this extra harass under the turret is actually going to cause Seraph not to go out into lane. And actually, yeah, ends up drawing.
Or at least he can pat himself on the back now.
Dexter's still waiting around for this counter, though.
Uh-oh.
Now they know that they're outnumbered. This is extremely dangerous. Bjergsen coming in with blue buff.
Only 1 second on that distortion again. It's up, and he uses... Oh, the minion with the body block! Sign that guy up on the team. Bjergsen's going to be backing up off of this one. It looks like CLG's may turn this one around. Not
they have to go through the turret. Flash is blown as well.
Not in range for the shockwave, but in range to definitely make TSM think twice.
Now that was just a pure mistake that was easily avoidable by Bjergsen. You can just watch your own creep wave. They mirror each other. So if your creep wave is at the middle of the lane, then so will CLG's. He should have known that the creep wave would be right there. Yeah. And even though he's going in for that blind chain, he's going to have to work around that timing. So that was an easily avoidable situation. It didn't cause anyone their death.
Nope.
However, they do go down a summoner spell for it.
That hunger for kills, also known as greed. See what CLG can do as they, Aphromoo is going to back 1 minute on the Dragon, so he will get himself prepped and prepared for that. 50 CS lead still for Doublelift. Being an 80 carry, always say the #1 rule, if you're not farming, then you're not being an 80 carry, and that's where Doublelift is going, down to the bottom lane. Top lane, Dyrus should be able to get some more damage on the turret if he wants. His teleport's up, so he can decide to just go wherever he wants and back to the top to farm this one out, because he's got a good lead on Seraph after the kills and the CS.
Hey, you're talking about farming here. Like, Doublelift's been farming hard for a long time. He should have a substantial pool of gold. He could probably buy a full item when he does go back. He's been farming for an extremely long time. Just gets boots and a Sheen. Okay, more burst here. So this is actually a really good mid-game pickup. Sheen is extremely efficient towards this mid-game here, especially when there's going to be so many skirmishes.
And nobody has armor yet.
That 17-minute mark.
Oh.
Good repel to buy time.
Yeah. He actually got a stack from Chain and the Zenith Blade, so he didn't have to worry too much about the card control.
Dragon 1 second away. Teleports for both laners are up, but Seraph walks down once again, wanting to save his cooldown. And CLG, they actually have positioning on mid. They don't have to go down to Dragon. Because TSM weren't sure which objective they were going for, TSM stood in the middle ground, no man's land, and they end up losing the turret and positioning on Dragon. CLG can also clear out the vision here. Let's see if Dyrus can actually answer top lane, though. TSM really need to be able to answer this move from CLG with that top lane turret.
The battle was for mid, but the war is for the Dragon. CLG has part 1. They got part 2. The fight to start here. The culling off to the right side. Doublelift, the sun is in his eyes. Cleave goes hard onto Doublelift. He is on the backside. Can only throw out the skill shots and not put any more damage down. And CLG has to reassess this fight.
That Alistar front line is so strong with his ulti, taking up a lot for his team. Both support tanks here. Barely getting out.
They still want this.
They've got positioning. So that was a mid for top turret trade. Dragon goes down, but it does give up middle turret positioning for TSM. They try and answer, but CLG do not actually give up. They do not go through with those recalls. Turtles in the back.
Wow. CLG has been trying to make plays all game. Can't flaunt them for it. Some of them are coming through, but we're all tied up here. They do get that Dragon, which gives them a bit of a gold lead, and Doublelift CS obviously sticking on that cash. But 19 minutes in, and with 2 turrets down, CLG can start to add a little bit more map pressure, hopefully. When you got Dyrus pushing lanes, everybody else able to pretty much clear out a wave quite easily.
So yeah, TSM, they want to play to their strengths now. They do have Dyrus who got an upper hand. He's got the 2 kills, he's got the CS lead, he's got an easily large rod. He can harass this Renekton, who hasn't been able to complete defensive items yet. Just now getting his Negatron cloak. So we'll see what Dyrus can actually do with this, because the other parts of this TSM lineup here are not doing as hot. That turtle, he needs a lot more time to scale up here with the Kog'Maw, trying to catch up to Double Lift. Maybe they can pull something off here with Bjergsen. They need to get vision back, though, for that to happen. Bjergsen, with that LeBlanc, not going Deathfire Grasp means that it'll be harder for him to pull off one of those assassinations, but he can still do it if he catches the right person, you know, maybe low on health.
That's going to be quite tough. A lot of protection for all of CLG. If they can, like you said, get that magic resistance up, they're facing most of the damage and mitigating it right away.
Yeah, the problem with going double AP with a LeBlanc as one of your APs is that people, when seeing LeBlanc, their immediate reaction is already, hey, I need to get a Banshee's Veil pretty early. So if you're running double AP, it just makes that choice even easier for them to go with. And it's a great item for anyone on CLG towards the late game. Banshee's Veil going to help out a lot. So TSM really need to...
Whoa! Looks like Dexter's getting some nom-noms in the top lane. Seraph's going to want to help out here. Deja vu! Oh no, the turret! Dyrus is running! Time number 2, misses the cocoon. Whimsy coming up. The Glitter Lance goes over to Seraph, and he plays this one out in the fancy feet. Time number 2.
So they don't get him again. However, it's just going to be a trade for turrets. CLG getting top turret right now. Meanwhile, TSM going to get that bottom one. The real story is what's going to happen mid, because side lanes are traded pretty evenly here, but Double Lift has such a commanding lead. With that Sheen, he can do a lot of damage very quickly to turrets.
Really great purchase, putting the Phage on there as well to keep himself a little safer. Aphromoo throws it on. The back line is not warded right now in CLG. Like I said, trying to continuously make plays throughout the game. A lot of defense being provided here from Glebe and the rest of the team.
Collapsed on by Bjergsen here.
Very close. He also has amazing right on his heels. Bjergsen looks like he's been living with a blue buff on as it actually drains off of him. As I say that, good dissonance damage from Link. He's actually leveled that all the way 4. Q is at 5 since he's spent that up. We're going to see what they can do. Slowly pushing towards the mid lane, but they're not getting any of Turtle's poke down. They're not getting Glitter Lances there. They really can't engage much.
CLG really looking for the perfect shockwave. Initiation burst onto Afro.
The one that heals.
Not going to be that effective.
Yeah. Oh!
There it is!
The ball delivery system! There it is! They get it there by 10 a.m. guaranteed. And it looks like it's going to be Dyrus running for the hills. Double Lift gets himself in range. The Phage speed, the W passive speed, all the speed necessary for the double kill.
And that is going to be a middle inhibitor turret already going down for CLG. Bjergsen wants to make them pay for it, though.
Trying to get a little bit off the edge there, chip off a block for himself, but nothing is coming off on that. CLG is a rock right now, and they're turning this rivalry into a base destruction versus Team Solo Mid. They pick up a 5,000 gold lead, 3 kills on the run there, and 3 turrets for themselves in the lead.
A whole inhibitor off of that single initiation. Everybody knew what was coming. Everybody saw the clip flash split. But
you're inside their head.
Still that impressive, even if you know it's coming. Aphromoo and Link once again pulling off the combo, and Double Lift is able to chase them down, even though red buff does wear off.
A matter of seconds. Everybody on TSM thought, oh, Voidoos, we're safe. That was the end that CLG needed.
Yeah, beautiful combo from CLG. What we were expecting from this composition, and they pulled it off beautifully. Great execution. TSM going to have to worry more about spreading out. I mean, they can't really afford for another 3-man Moo Link combo. So they're definitely going to have to spread out and work more with the counter engage. They don't really have the best opportunity when having Leona go all in, as we just saw, because not only is Aphromoo able to use Alistar's kit for engage, but also disengage and counter engage.
You just crack all that CC.
It's really more about TSM trying to use the Lee Sin kick to buy some time for them and then regroup. They have to spread out for the beginning of the fight and use Leona more for a secondary engage, a reinitiate.
Another thing that helps is that they got so far with that battle. Doing that twice isn't always the easiest thing. Like you said, TSM is going to be looking for that you're not going to get another perfect ball delivery. So we'll see how CLG can work their way back in to get it again.
To be fair, TSM should have been looking for that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because CLG have done this before, and CLG were still able to pull it off. Also, once Afromu gets some more mobility, that's going to be even more scary.
Oh dear. You can just see, they don't even want to attack him. Turtle knows just on his heels is going to be even more death from the Mad Cow. So they back off. Turtle safe. A lot of summoners up on both sides as well. So we'll really get an all-out fight from both teams if they decide to go head-to-head. No holding back. 240 to 199, almost hitting 200 CS there. Double Lift staying on that mark for CS per minute almost. And 2-0 and 3. So that first pick, Lucian, really working out for him.
Yeah, it's turning really scary for TSM here. Seraph as well got really strong. He's got a fully completed Randuin's now on top of his Negatron cloak. So he is getting to be that beefy secondary tank after Afromu initiates.
It's kind of been the story always. You kind of see Seraph in the beginning, and then he'll disappear, and then he'll come back as a formidable opponent sometime in the game where he still helps CLG.
Interesting choice here by TSM. They wanted to make another trade. This is just an outer turret, though.
Yeah.
The last outer turret for CLG going to go down for an inner turret of TSM. And TSM has to be very careful about recalling. They need to get back in time to defend an inhibitor turret. They can't afford to trade one outer for 2 turrets, one of them being inhibitor.
CLG is displaying this fantastically with the amount of strength they have. Afromu knowing the limitations and how far you can really go with that champion of Alistar.
Oh!
There is the command shockwave to lock it down. A quick Q movement on the ball move. Takes down Glebe, and they are going to get another inhibitor turret going on to Team Solom. It's amazing. They take him down. And Afromu helping to be on the front line, giving a double kill out for Link. Double Lift picks himself up one as well. These guys are just going hard. Actually, Double doesn't. He's just on the assist score.
Plenty of shields there for Double Lift 2 as Bjergsen comes in for the burst. This is maybe the fresh base of TSM kind of showing here. Not able to get everybody on the same page and recall quick enough. They weren't able to convey the desperation of that situation. The speed at which CLG were pushing was pretty easy to tell there, and they were not able to get the recalls in time.
Right.
End up losing another inhibitor for it. TSM really on the back foot now.
Well, doing what they can, still remembering they got to light up Baron as much as possible. Everybody to back here, amazing with the possibility of getting this, but I don't even know if CLG is going to give them the chance. They have an inhibitor to fight at and force that one already, while Turtle and Glebe staying safe right now. We'll see what these guys have for CLG on a last push. They still have, like we said, a little bit of front-end ability power damage if they can hit the right people, but they have to hit the right people.
Speaking of front-end ability power, Link is massive right now. He's also got a blue elixir on top of almost 3-item completed mid. So he's going to be giving some very, very high damage shockwaves, courtesy of Afromu. And Bjergsen gets a rat down before the fight even starts.
Perfectly done on the LeBlanc. That's why you'll see a lot of people go after the LeBlanc. Oh, he gets it. Very nicely done. Link on that one as well with the shield assist, the speed up, and they're going to be going for the inhibitor. Not something they thought would happen. And another time that CLG catches TSM thinking they aren't going to engage.
Yeah, it seems to be the whole team of TSM here kind of out of position, not really respecting the speed of CLG, and they pay for it there. Also not able to take up enough calling.
Wow, Kobe! Wild Turtle gets hit up. That was a passive shot in the Sheen proc. Glebe is going to go down as well as they shut down the Sun. Double kill for Double Lift. 3 are now down. The Nexus turret will fall. A sub 30-minute game for the CLG TSM rivalry as Counterlogic Gaming takes the win at 28 minutes.
Congratulations to CLG. Very strong performance from them.
Great.
And maybe the lack of planning there from TSM kind of showing through. They look a little bit unsure of themselves towards mid-game.
Not to point it at amazing, but we saw a lot more during his European gameplay time. More initiations, more of this, more of that, being the one to set things up for the team. It seems like he's almost kind of been taken control of by other junglers here. Not all of them. He got hold of Dexter early game, but it's been quite ordinary for the results he used to produce. You see obviously the team quite happy with themselves in the victory. A great way to start off the second week of the split. TSM looking like there are a few troublesome issues there. Definitely something they can look at for this game. One of the harder matchups they have this week.
Yeah, a bit of a slow start for TSM. But CLG, all smiles. They have pretty much historically gotten the short end of the stick as far as this matchup is concerned. But now they're looking very confident, and it showed, especially in the team play there. Everybody was on the same page.
And there are interesting picks and bans, but it showed that CLG can kind of just go to whatever they want. Afro back on Alistar, it's cool that AAP, TSM took Lulu and LeBlanc, didn't need either of those. Link still had Kale if he needed to play it, but he went back to Orianna again. Counterlogic Gaming, their champion pool is amazing coming into this.
Yeah, I really like the throwbacks from Afro Moon. Not a lot of support players nowadays playing Alistar. He's one of the only ones doing it, and he does it so well. Every single time he takes it, he shows himself to be a star for the team. And him and Link just have such good camaraderie.
Don't want to say it. I do.
They can pull off these moves over and over again, even if you know that it's coming. TSM still keep getting caught by the shockwave combos.
It's something that happened last split, too, with just a frequency of the patch change. TSM said they were having a hard time to adapt to that. Do another patch change, which wasn't huge in terms of changing things, but there's a patch change, and you have new members. So you're just multiplying things on that were hindering the team last split.
Yeah, I mean, everybody in the North American LCS is pretty much a new team, so
yeah,
everybody's having to deal with these
kind of the
issues.
story. And then it's a choose your own adventure. Do you keep going? I mean, CLG came back in the mid-game vote on that one because people they're seeing, they're like, you know, CLG has become the rock they wanted to be a lot sooner. Last split, it took quite a while, and CLG received a good amount of flack for it throughout the whole time, even saying it's going to take us a while. You know, same thing could happen for Team Solo Mid.
And what was really impressive for CLG this time around was double lift. Yes, he farmed really hard in the beginning. He got his lead, but when it was time to team fight, when it was time to pull away from the minions and stop farming, he was there. He was always there with the team. When they called for a shove, when they called for a move anywhere, he would be in the right place at the right time. So double lift actually not falling into his old habits, and he's actually progressing as a player himself.
Got it in. All right, well, we're going to toss it over to Freak and Jat, who are joined by CLG's Rush Hour bot lane.
Thank you very much, Irv. What's up, guys? I want to welcome Doublelift and Afromoon now to the desk. You guys were pretty much in commanding control the entire game, it seemed. Talk to me, I guess, about the fact that we have a lot of new rosters now in the LCS fighting up against now Wild Turtle and Glebe.
Well, last split, I didn't really have any issues playing against Turtle and Xpecial. And I felt like them and C9's bot lane were like really strong, but then C9's bot lane had just started pulling ahead relative to TSM's. And then now, Glebe is not a spectacular laner. Like, Xpecial hits all his hooks, and he's just actually, he has like good lane presence, but I think Glebe and Turtle are a lot weaker than him and Xpecial were. So I'm especially like not scared to 2v2 them. And they were playing a really weak lane, Cogliona. I don't know what they were thinking to try to 2v2 us. It's kind of silly.
So talk to me about the Leona pick, because so far every time I've seen you play, Alistair was into Leona. But also every time you happen to have an Orianna on your team. Did you like see this coming a while in advance, or you're just like, Orianna's good, and then you're like, oh great, I get the engage combo?
No, we pre-planned this before coming up against TSM. We know what we wanted to play, and we had all the counters ready, and we were prepared to play against them.
Yeah, and Double, if you actually mentioned there wanting the 2v2 and how TSM did that, just kind of walk me through the early game and how you guys knew that you would meet up with them 2v2 or Afro.
Well, we warded early, and originally we were like, there's no way they're not going to 2v1 with Cogliona. So like in my mind, I was like, yeah, we're just going to 2v1. Lulu's going to come down eventually to try to pick up some farm, but it's just going to be standard 2v1. But we saw Cog show on a ward. He was like bleaching blue or something for Amazing, and I was like, wow, they actually want to fight us 2v2. Like, that's kind of dumb. So yeah, we ended up playing against them, and I think we're better in lane, and we also had the better matchup, in my opinion, because Cog is kind of weak early. And I was ahead by like 50 or 60 CS the whole game.
Yeah, I actually have a curiosity out from you. Speaking of Kog'Maw lanes, when I typically see him paired with a guy like Nami. Nami's been kind of coming back. I know she wasn't in this game, but like, why is it that Nami's kind of coming back in a competitive?
Nami is very, very good, especially with the lifesteal nerf runes. they got nerfed. So sustain is much more important. Plus, Nami also has 2 knockups for Yasuo, so you can also run that comp as well. And in lane, Nami is pretty much a lane dominator, as you see SKT run Vayne Nami as well, and it just crushes lane. And it's also really good for Kog'Maw, and he doesn't have to run lifesteal runes, so you can just run full attack speed, which I think what Turtle ran that game, but they didn't have sustain. And yeah, but they should have probably picked Nami that game instead of playing Leona, where they go all in with Kog'Maw, who's just immobile, range carry, and you can't really back up your support when he goes in.
Yeah. And you guys punished that a little bit in the middle of the game. It looked like a close game as far as the gold is concerned, with Darius getting a few kills top, you being ahead in CS and bottom lane. Let's actually pull up this clip. It was a mid-game team fight. You guys did the cow ball combo. Talk me through when you saw this play and how you executed it.
I think LeBlanc was coming from bottom right now, and I was like, Link, you got ball, I flash, let's do this. And he was like, okay, man, here you go. And yeah, we just did the cow delivery ball system.
All right, let's get right into this clip. I mean, there's also a couple nice plays here. Doublelift, you just dodged a glitter lance with the flash in the last second as well.
Oh, I do like a sideways culling too. I'm pretty bad at this game, to be honest. I just got carried right here by Afro and Link. They're too good at the game. And I just want to point out that the only reason Cog didn't flash, look at that. That was the worst culling of my life. Just like, please end the clip right there.
But then you flashed the glitter lance.
Too easy, dude. Yeah, I knew he was going to turn around and throw it at some point, but what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I was going to say Dexter, previously, like probably a minute or 2 minutes before that, he said, I'm going to flash Cocoon Cog. And I was like, this is a good idea because the worst case scenario is Cog blows flash for your flash, and that's a win. And the best case scenario is your Cocoon lands and he just dies instantly. And I was like, Turtle actually has enough extra time to just flash the flash Cocoon. But I was like, his flash is down now. We're going to win the next fight 100%. So props to Dexter for making that play.
That was really good. I like that. So one thing we actually mentioned is how you were getting ahead. Your mid-game farm was gigantic. Even though the lane was like plus 15 CS or something, you had this period of time where you just kind of sat there farming the bot lane, like kind of by yourself. How did you keep the lane to where you're getting farm and Cog wasn't?
After I take tower, you can set the lane up so that it's pushing towards you because like your wave smashes their tower and then there's the pull. Like there's always the reverse. And we were smashing lane really hard right then because I think we had like a 3 or 4 man dive coming, and then Turtle just kind of like backed off and did wolves or white. And then Cog is actually super weak early. He went mid lane to try to pick up some farm, but then Bjergsen's probably like, that's my farm. And so I think he was just jungling for a long time, and I was just sitting there like, when's he going to come lane against me? Which he can't really do. So I think I picked up like probably 20 or 30 CS before pressure kind of spilled over to other lanes, and I was like, okay, it's time to push and go mid.
All right, well, you guys looked very impressive in this game over TSM, but last week wasn't necessarily that good for you guys. You went 2-2. What did you guys do in the time between last week and this week to improve and try to look better?
I think we changed roles in the team, and for some reason I was doing picks at the start when I was really confused and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, what should we take here, guys? And then we swapped it back for last split where Link was doing draft in charge of that stuff, and I was just doing win conditions and then objective calls and stuff like that. And we just changed it back, so it's going a lot better now. And we also don't have like crappy picks and scrims where scrims are like a waste of time. So.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, it's good as well. Actually, one real quick final question as well. Speaking of the team gelling better, how's Seraph doing with you guys? Is he
he's doing really good. His English is improving at an alarming rate. It's very, very good. And he usually understands everything we say.
That's awesome. Well, guys, congratulations on your win. We'll see you tomorrow as well for hopefully another one. Well, guys, don't go anywhere. We're coming back with more games. After the break, Complexity will face off against Evil Geniuses, who are on the hunt for their first win of the split. The North American LCS returns after this.
Bye.
Please. Do I go or wilding on top?
Oh, actually, Seraph's going to have to take this quite hard with the dominance on. Gets shrunken out. Darius could have shield coming up soon. Gets the slow on. Dexter getting an auto attack. He's going to go down. So is Seraph.
Not going to be that effective.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. The ball delivery system. There it is. They get it there by 10 a.m. guaranteed.
Pretty sick after move.
And Bjergsen gets the rest down before the fight even starts.
Perfectly done on the LeBlanc. That's why you see a lot of people go after the LeBlanc. Oh, he gets it.